increasing your asset base and your education. Think about how much education you can have. Then it's like saying you can't have too much education. Why? Because education is an asset. But are you the asset, or is the education asset? So hold on, Trust Christian, which one is it? Is it the chicken before the egg? So yes, is it your education, or is it the trust education? Is it the business education? Is the company's education? People come to the vote all the time. Oh, can trustee training be an education expense for the company? Why wouldn't it be? Aren't you continuing your education? We've been told people at the vote that we were continuing education. Why wouldn't your company have a company expense investing in you, making you more valuable to the company as an asset? First of all, lawyers have continuing education. That's their own business. Medical people have continuing education. That's their own business. They can move anywhere in the world and pretty much practice medicine. So that's how things are run when you are practicing something. So this is actually more apropos for business. Are you an asset, or are you a liability to the company? Is your education, like a doctor, an asset to the company or a liability? People, this is where we are. People think their asset is marketing. The fact that they can get people together to sell things, that's great. Your asset is your selling skills. So the assets are things that grow the company. But how many people are looking to grow their company in a perspective of minimizing liabilities and going for assets? Assets of cash flow. Appreciate West Palm Beach for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate West Palm Beach. We got Nebraska tuning in live, listening to replay. Shout out to Nebraska. Appreciate Nebraska for tuning in live, listening to replay. It sounds like we got quite a few people that can hear me clearly. Just make sure y'all can type into the chat that y'all can hear me clearly. Sounds like the connection is good. So, are you an asset or are you a liability? People say, oh man, Trust Christian, I'm looking to be an asset to the company, but right now I don't feel like I got the skills. I don't have all the skills to build a Fortune 500 company, and I don't know where I fall in between. Well, what you do know is you can bank on that education, because that education is what's going to get you to solve these problems that you have in your business. A lot of people say, oh, is education for everything? No, because there's different sides to business. There's a street side, and then there's a corporate side. So when we see people come from the street, sometimes they do really well in corporate America. And then we see some people in corporate America not be able to survive in the big bad streets. But ladies and gentlemen, are you an asset? An asset to the company? Or are you a liability? What's a liability, Trust Christian? You told us about assets so far. What's a liability? A salary is a liability, right? That is. Why? Because you're an expense to the company. You see how you put yourself back in position? You wasn't supposed to do that in trustee training, but how many people do it on the public side and say, well, I'm looking to go private, but you keep taking a salary. You're an expense to the company. You're a liability. Bottom line. Okay. What else is a liability? You. Not just the salary, you are. So how does the company offset that one? Well, the company can get an insurance policy on you. This is not financial advice. Why wouldn't a company be able to get insurance policies on you? It's called Keyman Insurance. Companies can get Keyman Insurance on key employees. That's a fact. You can go on the internet and Google that. So okay, you go on the internet and you Google, okay, I'm going to get Keyman Insurance on me. So when you start looking through the insurance, you can see that it covers more than just you dying. This is great for entrepreneurs that have more than one partner in the business that can do cross-purchase agreements. So if something happens, you can buy out the other partner and buy out their family, and their family has some type of severance pay. But see, people don't know these things because they're not doing the research. But are those things even told to you at the small business level in, Scores or these other companies? No. Why? Because they don't have any financial interest in helping you make more money or become a real certified A1 type entity. Why? They don't have a financial interest in the company. Are you hiring them full time? So liability status. Why would most of these financial professionals in the public side educate you about being a liability to your company? That's not their position. They already hold a conflict of interest position. They have no financial interest in making you money. They can only take money from you because guess what? You're paying them. So once again, you say, okay, I'm gonna make sure I got some type of insurance on myself and the company. The company's gotta have insurance on me. Why? Because they have it on all the executives. Oh no, you thought you were big and bad. You thought you were going to graduate to the corporate world and not have insurance on you. Think about how many entrepreneurs are missing insurance on themselves. And they'll say that like, man, I don't know if insurance is expensive or not. Okay, did you call to find out? I don't know if it's more expensive than a job. This is where we are. Well, some people, they don't care about that. That's in part of the expenses of the company. The medical expenses. The medical expenses are like medical expenses for employees. Those are write-offs once again. Those are deductions. Why? Because it's an employee expense. So are you an employee? Are you drawing a salary? Are you a liability? Or are you an asset? Are you an executive just sitting into an executive's role? Are you a board member sitting in that as a board member? See, a board member is an asset shareholder. See, they're an asset shareholder. So they're not in a position of, oh, I'm a liability company. See, board members sometimes are actually shareholders. That means they sit in a position of equity, not just sit in a position of liability. But by holding assets, you can be a liability. I mean, this is where we can go into, did you know you can purchase debt? Did you know you can purchase debt and hold it on the books as a liability to the company? Your education dictates what you know. Some people say, oh man, I could have offset a liability by knowing how to purchase debt. Exactly. You would know. Trust Christian, man, I don't know where all that information comes from. It comes from Google, actually. You can Google it. The question that you're asking is the question that you can Google. But your education will dictate if you're an asset or a liability. That's why we have Trust Christian at the Vault. Because it's about the education. See, some people say, oh, it's about the tools, it's about the assets. It is about the tools. It is about the assets. But ladies and gentlemen, are you a liability to somebody else or is somebody a liability to you? Now, either way, that means both of you all are dispensable. Not indispensable, you're dispensable. Because that means we can get rid of you. You're called a liability. But no. People haven't had this mindset of being indispensable. They're okay with being dispensable. Are you an asset or a liability to the company? Well, we already know that employees are liabilities to the company. Okay, so what are you, board member? What are you, executive? Oh, so let's go look at some of the best executives in the country. Why are you looking at small to so-called medium businesses? We're looking at the best. Fortune 500. That's where everybody wants to be at, right? You want to be on the Fortune 500 list. You want to be on the Forbes 100 list. Okay, then that means that what? You're gonna do what those guys do. You have the same contracts in place. But your education dictates how well you know contracts. What do people come into the vault because? As far as trustee training, first of all, trustee training is over training over contracts. They want to know what? How to be trained to look over contracts. They need a continuing education program that's moderate to medium income, that's not going to hit their pockets. They need to be able to level up on some basic information called contract law, and they need to do it at a moderate price. Okay, that's fair. Whereas the marketplace, they will have to go to college and learn what they're learning in trustee training in 2 years. Why? Because they got to go to law school now, and law school is 2 years. So they have to read the cases that they will read in 2 years in 12 weeks. Oh, wow. This must be an advanced course. Trust Christian's running over there. The Vault's running over there. They're running an advanced course in contract and trusteeship. Okay. So I'm an asset now to my family estate. I'm not a liability. But how many people are really assets to their family estate? They barely can keep track of their time. How are you an asset to the family estate and you don't have track of your time? You have to keep track of your time. You can't say, oh, Trust Christian, what do you mean? I got to keep track of my time every day. When do I take off? How many days do you wake up and not want to get up? That's a fact. How many days do you say, oh man, I'm going to go to sleep tonight. I don't want to wake up tomorrow. So if you're going to get up tomorrow, you got to get up tomorrow with a plan, because that's what an asset has. An asset has a plan to grow or depreciate. Now, how the hell is it an asset if it doesn't appreciate? So if it appreciates, that means it has a plan to go somewhere. It has a plan to be valuable in the future, just like it's valuable now. So, okay, Trust Christian, man, I don't want to be a liability to the company. So let's go to a guy named, one of our trustees brought us to our attention, Nick Saban. The man that's a coach in college. This is in college level. These people are using these policies right in front of you. He's getting paid from an insurance policy. This is Googleable. Everybody wants to Google something. They want the easy route out. You got the easy route. Google Nick Saban salary, whether it's with LSU or with Alabama. Read it. Oh, no, Trust Christian, it wasn't on the first page of Google, man. It wasn't on the second page of Google. I had to go to the third page, man. Are you an asset or a liability? Are you going to do the research? Oh, Trust Christian, Think about this. Now, it's a lot of people that listen to the vault. So we'll say, okay, you're that one leader. You got to remember, it's 1 out of 10 mode right now, baby. It's 1 out of 10 mode. Like, you have to be aware that the odds might be against you. And you only looking for 10%. 1%. That's the bottom line, ladies and gentlemen. See, liabilities, they carry too much debt even though they're making a profit. They carry too much debt, but they're making a profit. So assets say, okay, we can't carry any debt. We gotta only have assets. We only gotta have profits. So many mentors say, hey, I don't care about my kids, growing up. When I die, they'll get a measly $1 million. If you can't manage $1 million, you can't manage a damn thing. Dang, all you gonna give your kid is $1 million? Like, I thought you would be an asset to the family. We are. They just don't give the kids the money all at one time. They might give them enough, say, okay, you blew through $1 million between 20 and 25. So 25, now you get $5 million. We're going to see if you could battle from 20 to 25 on your own. You're not coming home for no money. And 25 comes, bam, we're going to lay 25 big ones on you. Let's see if you had an idea brewing between 20 and 25. Some people say, man, some people do that. Yes. People want to be that type of asset to their family, but they're not going to be a liability where you give a child a gun. Why would you give a 20-year-old $5 million? But they may say, okay, we'll give him 500, $500,000. Let's see what he starts out with. Or she starts out with. Maybe not when you pass, but the assets that you're working on. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of the episode. So first of all, if you got a company, your corporation can purchase the home that you're living in. Now, this isn't the doofus test. This is the facts. First of all, companies own houses all the time. Correct? Correct. Okay, so why can't the company pay rent for you? People say, oh man, that's it. What type? I got to check with the accountant. I got to do this. You do. But at the end of the day, why is the property that the manager of the company is living in not an asset to the company? If the manager doesn't have somewhere to sleep, what happens to the company? Hold on. Doesn't the company have a car? Who you think drives the company car? Hold on. Doesn't the house have somebody to stay there and manage it? Yeah. Who's that gonna be? You. Oh, Trust Christian, I can't believe it. The rent is an asset now. It's not a liability anymore. Oh, the cell phone's not a liability. It's an asset. It's been that. It's business. It's not personal. Oh, but we didn't learn this in public school, did we, ladies and gentlemen? Now, we went to public school. We all went to 1 through 12. But hold on, the ones that got out in college, got college degrees, some of them got debt too. That's called a liability, right? Hold on. The ones that got degrees, they got liability, right? So let's go to the ones that we actually are cash flow positive. The ones of us, the star seeds, the star childs, the people that are building businesses in a capacity where we're focused on growing assets, not liabilities. We're focused on doing that. We're the 5%. We focus on growing assets. We don't focus on spending all our money on marketing. Hold on, you did that? You spent all your money on the internet marketing? On the marketing? Hold on, what did you spend all the money on the company? We spent it all on what? Employees? Did you spend it all on yourself? Oh, that's commingling. Everybody always talk about the commingling. Now you're a liability to the company because your own ignorance, because you don't know how to fill out the documents. So how do you learn how to fill out the documents? You go to the law library. We already know that the law library's been shut down, but the vault's been on for 5+ years. So we told you to do what? Go to the law library. They just got shut down. So now what do you got to do? You maybe have to submit some documents to the law library and get some, tell them, hey, need you to send over a book to us and things of that nature. It's your education. Where you don't know what you don't know. You're right. So you're a liability to the company until you can get it to a superior level. What's the superior level? The $1 million mark. That's the low ball end. $1 billion is where you're playing with some real friends. $1 billion. Oh, Trust Christian, I can't believe you're calling it out like that, man. Some of us, we say we want to be billionaires. You know how many people come to the vault and say they want to be billionaires? These are grown adults saying that they want to be billionaires. This shit is laughable. It's laughable. Why? Because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? There's no need to brag. We sit in the rooms with the billionaires. And guess what? They're not just talking about it. They're bringing assets to the table. We're sitting in a room with asset managers that are telling you don't come to them unless you got $100 million deal. That's not pipe dream. They got multiple clients that have hundreds of millions of dollars, and don't come to them unless you got $100 million idea. Okay? You don't need to come up and talk to them. What do you need to say hi for? Do you have $100 million idea? No. Then go sit your ass down in the corner somewhere. That's what we talking about. Are you an asset to the company, or are you a liability? Well, your education is going to dictate that. Well, Trust Christian, what you mean? You talking about public school? College, is that's going to get me through? You just said college coming out with debt. They coming out with liability. Oh, so you got to invest in your private education. Whether it's with the vault, whether it's with high net worth environments. That's what you got to invest your education in. You got to go around and meet these people at golf tournaments. Is learning golf as a skill set not an asset? Oh, Trust Christian, what do you mean? Trust Christian, golf, man? What do you mean? You may not have to play tennis, but you can play golf. And you don't even have to be good at golf. Like, you can literally make it go in the woods and then just start over with a ball. They don't care. It's business, not personal. You can get a new ball. They always gonna know you as a bum. But guess what? You're out there doing deals while you're talking and liquoring up the newfound partners. How about that? Oh, Trust Christian. Oh, okay. You're doing that. No, we're not talking about getting people, liquored up. We're talking about, being able to have a good ride, playing golf, enjoying drinks as you drive, play a game of golf. Because that's what people are doing. Because they're assets, not liabilities. We don't know how to only play spades. Oh, yeah, Trust Christian, what do you know how to do? You know how to play spades? No, we're on golf courses doing golf deals. That's what we do. No, we're not on we're not playing online spades. We don't need to get our spade game up. Now, we're not talking down about a game. You play whatever you're going to play. You do what you're going to do. But, ladies and gentlemen, this is for the people that are in the in crowd of they know what's going on in the business world. Do you think they're playing more spade games, or do you think they're on the golf course doing business deals? You guys can type that into the chat. Do you think they're playing spades and doing business over a business deal, or do you think business is happening more on the golf course? Because, ladies and gentlemen, they have golf courses that cost millions of dollars. Casinos have that one card game in it. Spades is one card game in the casino. Guess what? They build whole things around that. Assets and liabilities. A lot of people don't know the difference. And this is where the society is, because we've mislabeled things. And by mislabeling things, people don't want to know what the word asset or liability is. But on a general term, for a business perspective, as we are here in this moment right now, an asset is something that is almost as good as computing as a computer. You are able to process high algorithmic complex equations. You have to be able to solve problems in 2020. Why? Because that's what an asset does. An asset is solving problems. A liability, they're waiting for government checks. That's what the liabilities are doing. They don't know how to go out and grow funds. They've clearly shown up until this point in their life, hereforth, they've been a liability to the company, because right now they're down in their chips and they're not selling off assets to stay afloat. This is where we are, ladies and gentlemen. Are you an asset or liability to the company? We can talk about this all day. It doesn't matter if you're in trusteeship or you on the public side. The education is critical. The company has to pay for the education. You all know this. That's why a lot of companies do a lot of company interns. What you want to know? You got to get a good lawyer so they can draft up a good operating agreement for you. That's what you got to do. You got to be the greatest asset to the company right now. And what does that mean? That means that you are getting, you're going to shop around, you're going to get the best lawyer, and you're going to get them to be able to draft the best document for the company. So now the documents are assets to the company. How is the house not an asset to the company? Oh, we forgot. The liability. It's actually a liability. The house is a liability for the trustee. It's got to be an asset for the trustee. I mean, it's got to be a liability. Why? Because those are considered fiduciary fees for managing the entity. Instead of you taking fiduciary fees, you just allow it to pay for debts that you would have incurred. Why? Because aren't you giving your blood, sweat, and tears to the company? Are you pulling down a salary? You got the company phone on you, right? Right. Why can't the company own property? Why can't the company own multiple properties? This is where we get into people contacting us talking about some damn multiple series LLCs. Talking about some multiple series and multiple LLCs. Oh, do we need multiple LLCs or one LLC? See, this is how you know we have an eclectic audience at the vault, because we get all types of questions coming through. Well, Trust Christian, what about a multi, multi LLC? We're just gonna link all those LLCs, 2 or 3 LLCs and multiple LLCs to one umbrella company, and that's gonna be the LLC or the C corp. Or how should we arrange it? It's like, well, it sounds like you got your thought already well thought out. And that's usually when you go to a consultant like the Vault, or that's when you go to a lawyer. You go to those people on the public side that say, we know how to make sure it's in the right position of asset or liability. And that's where we are as a consulting firm. We know that this is how you're going to stay an asset, and this is how you're going to stay a liability. And of course, our whole job is asset protection at the Vault. So of course it's are you an asset or liability? That means is the company protected? It's about the company, ladies and gentlemen. See, it's easier for the company to do what it's going to do, whereas in a personal capacity, we already know that that's limited. So that's why a lot of people get limited liabilities in the first place. And we can sit here and talk about all of the gambit of entities, whether they're assets or liabilities, because it's based off your knowledge base. And this is where a lot of entrepreneurs falter, is because they don't have enough knowledge that can help them get through a lot of the entrepreneur hiccups. It's more, a lot of people are just going through getting quote unquote what we call useless information. And see, one thing we know about wealthy people is they limit who they're listening to. They have a very strict diet of who they're listening to, especially if they're going through a mentorship program. Because if you're going through a mentorship program, that's an asset to you. Everything else is a liability. But a lot of people, they don't know how to cut off the liabilities. That's the challenge of a lifetime, is cutting off the liabilities. Because what if you're a liability to yourself? And then you're a liability to the company. So how do you become an asset? You got to increase your education. A lot of people say, oh, Trust Christian, what's that mean? I need to go back to college? You know, is that what you're saying? We're definitely not saying that. Can you go back and learn creative writing classes? Can you go back and, learn how to do different things? Yes. But how many people are willing to take those I'm going to take those continuing education credits, Trust Christian. I'm going to spend $20,000 on my education over the next 10, 20 years. I'm going to spend $100,000 on my education over the next 10, 20 years. Oh, yeah? That's how you going? Oh, I'm not going to invest that much, Trust Christian. I don't know how much money I'm going to get back, man. I don't know what you're talking about. What you mean? Who am I going to give $20,000 to, Trust Christian, over the next 5 to 10 years? Well, if you're going into wealth environments, if you're traveling the globe, the hotels are not cheap, and then the conference itself is over $1,000. So you go to the conference, you're educating yourself. Sometimes, most of the conferences are over $1,000 nowadays. So when you go to the conferences, you're sitting in a room with them, and they're telling you, like, this is what we're investing in, yada yada yada. But if you don't know what the bigger money's doing, that shows what level you're playing at. That shows what level of education you're being given. Why? Because you're in the Chamber of Commerce. You're in the Chamber of Commerce on a local level, and guess what? They're having meetings in Singapore about assets. They're having meetings in South Africa about assets. They're having meetings in Monaco about assets. They're having meetings in Brazil about assets. They're having meetings in Guatemala and Panama about assets. They're having meetings in Florida about assets. They're having meetings in Chicago about assets. They're having meetings in Texas about assets. They're having meetings in San Francisco about assets. They're having meetings in Hawaii about assets. They're not all the same conference, so you can't say it's the same. It's not the same conference. And they're talking about assets sometimes regionally. You get different speakers coming in. You get people coming in from private wealth banks. The big boys, the JP Morgan, sometimes really not them. It's actually a lot of private wealth banks that come in and talk. A lot of wealth banks people don't even know about on the private side. And that shows there's a lot of room for growth for actually banks, because they don't have a lot of banks in there even trying to advertise the wealthier clients. When, once again, if you have a bank, that means you're going to give guaranteed returns, right? You're a bank now. But how many people start in banks? We got people come through trustee training. Are they going to get the private family banking? We don't know. When are y'all going to get the private family banking? Oh, it's just more talk, huh? You an asset to your family, but you don't got a private bank established off of the insurance policies that we talk about through the trustee training. We talk about using the insurance policies as a private wealth bank, because that's a well-known strategy in the public. Using insurance policies as a private wealth bank strategy, but people are slacking and they're macking. They're slacking. And it's hilarious to see, like, okay, so you try to tell me I could use an insurance policy as a private wealth manager, and if my family need loans, I can give them loans out of a private banking system that we've established. Yes, it's that simple. It's got to be complicated. How's it complicated? They got insurance agents that do all the work. It's not like you're never doing any of the work for the policies. The insurance agents do all the work. You're just telling them what your lifestyle is like, so they can know how to fill out the gaps and make sure that you're actually saving money. Saving money for a future loan that needs to be taken out from the family private bank. But oh no, how many trustees got there already? They didn't get there because what? It's the Christmas season, Trust Christian. We slowing down for the happy holidays. You're slowing down for the holidays, but your family's losing ground for the education. You're supposed to be giving your family a ho 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 and a Merry Christmas with an education from the vault, so they can learn how to protect their family assets. But oh no, Trust Christian. Man, I don't know if my family wants to learn this. How many people in my family want to learn this? Are you a leader? Are you an asset, or are you the liability to the company? Which one are you? Trust Christian, some people around me, they don't want to pick up on the trusteeship. They don't want to pick up on making sure that their business is set up correctly. So okay, what are you? Are they assets to you or liabilities to you and yours? Trust Christian, is it really that simple? Are you an asset or a liability to the company? We already know what you are. Most people are liabilities and they're scared. 50%. We don't have to be here to encourage 50% of what are wannabe asset managers, asset growers. Are you an asset or a liability to the company? You can ask yourself that question every day after every decision you make. Whether that's for the family estate and whether you think that's for yourself. Are you an asset or a liability to the company? How many people made the company establish a private bank within it? Ladies and gentlemen, are y'all familiar with these online companies that try to do payment transactions? You know that these companies are practicing banking, right? Like Cash App is practicing banking. PayPal is practicing banking. These companies are practicing banking. Anytime you do transactions through the internet, you're practicing banking. Are y'all aware of that, ladies and gentlemen? They have to have bank intermediary licenses. These cryptocurrencies companies are trying to get bank intermediary licenses so they can be an online bank. So what they've done is been able to fractionalize the marginalized people. The people that say, I don't know how to invest a certain way. Well, don't worry. We're not even gonna charge you to join our platform, and we're gonna every now and then out of 1 out of 10, 1 out of 20, maybe give you a few good hits, but the rest of them we're gonna clean your clock. Oh, you don't hear about people stealing money through these platforms? People getting money stolen from them through the platforms? Are you an asset or a liability to the company? Your knowledge base is going to dictate that. Oh, Trust Christian, that's a lot to handle right there. You know, because now you're saying the truth. That I'm the liability of the company or I'm the asset. Oh, you are. You always have been and will be if you're the CEO. If you're the sole entrepreneur. So many people are sole entrepreneurs. I'm the sole entrepreneur of the company. I'm a 6-figure earner. But what happens if you leave? You get a residual income? Oh. Just that little bit alone makes all the action that you did an asset. When you get a residual. When you get a royalty. Oh, for real, Trust Christian, it's like an album. It's like a royalty. A royalty is an income. I mean, a royalty is an asset, and it's an income actually, because it's bringing in appreciated dollars. There's a base principal value, and then if they sold it, and then they got the cash flow value on top of that, which is very important. Very happy to see that it's actually kicking out a dividend, which is a royalty. So there's principal work that you have to put in, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, people were talking about Bank of America. Some people said they heard Cash App had a problem with that. Of course they did. It's in a newspaper. Google it. So, and it's so crazy. I remember that. It's like, think about who's doing the fraud. Is it the companies or is it the individual? Now, clearly, ladies and gentlemen, this is why the government puts legislation in, so they can protect people from vultures, people so-called like Enron, where these guys either get off or it's all on the company. The company goes under, but they don't go under. You don't go under. The company goes under. In Donald Trump's infinite wisdom, we don't see people say, oh, I seen Donald Trump file personal bankruptcy tax. I seen that he may have bankrupted a company. I may say he'd been a part of a bankruptcy. That's what we hear. Personal bankruptcy? He doesn't have anything in his name. He didn't have a tax return to show as a president. What makes you think he's been doing that for the past 20 years? He's not a liability to his companies. He has $1 billion company. If somebody sues him and he's the manager, what you think they're going to try to go after? Hey, Donald, we need infinite nights at the hotel, buddy. We're going to sue you. We need infinite nights at the hotel. That's all we need top floor, penthouse. Look, we slipped and fell, so we need unlimited nights in the penthouse. Even if you're there, we want it still. That's the deal. You know, you get savage people in these lawsuits nowadays. They get savage, especially when you know you're going up against a billionaire. You're like, hey, let's go after his neck. We got to go get their neck. So why you think the billionaires are laying low? Because they're not liabilities. Who's a liability? The ones that are on the internet showing their money off. That's who's a liability. They're a liability to themselves. They're a liability to the company. Hey, Apple has billions of dollars on its books. Do you see them just going out and buying $3 billion companies? $2 billion companies? Apple has hundreds of billions of dollars on its books. Do you see it going out and buying, it's like saying Apple couldn't buy Airbnb. Of course Apple could buy Airbnb. They have hundreds of billions of dollars. They have hundreds of billions of dollars. Yes, they can buy Airbnb. Yes, they can buy different companies. They're probably not, though. That's not their business model. And then you get companies that are so big, such as Apple, they'll say, well, we can't let you buy such a crazy company like that, because if you get your technology in the company, it'll be a monopoly. Oh, really? Government has rules for that. Are you an asset or a liability? Some doofus at the company say, hey, we should go and buy this $3 billion company or, $5 billion company because we have $100 billion on the book. It's going to look like a monopoly and we're going to get sued. That's what's going to happen. So why would we do that? Even though they have hundreds of billions of dollars, they could go buy any company, a lot of companies. What's the point of doing it? I don't think that buying Netflix would be out of their range. Like, it's just being honest with you. Like, these are massive companies. So how do you get the Bill Gates deal? How do you get the Zuckerberg deal? How do you get these are the elite? How do you get the Donald Trump deal? Well, my lawyers, they told me not to show my taxes. I said I was going to show my taxes. They told me not to show my taxes. Okay, he said it. You guys can go back and watch the video. How come your lawyer didn't say that for you? Oh, Christian, I'm not the president of the United States. Okay, you want us to go to Romney as a trustee? You can go to Mitt Romney. Google that one. When he was going against Obama. Republicans usually have the same message. Hey, if you want me to show them, I can show them, but my lawyers, don't really want me to show them. I can make something up for you real quick, ladies and gentlemen. They can make something up for you real quick. We can create a company real quick and we'll be an asset to the company, or matter of fact, we'll be a liability. We'll show you that we pay taxes like you because we're liabilities to our companies. We have multi-billion-dollar companies, and guess what? What are we making? Because if you sue me, you could get it from me, right? Right. You making $32 million a year so they can sue you and you gonna give up that money? Who you think Donald couldn't make $32 million a year? He's a billionaire. Why couldn't you make $32 million a year? Why couldn't you make $4 million a year? Yeah, and somebody's gonna sue you for it. Oh, okay. So I gotta reassess my strategy towards building wealth. Hold on. You think you're gonna be different from Donald or the rest of them, and you're the one on the internet showing that you're wearing rich stuff. Oh, I'm wearing designer. Hold on. That's all you wear, right? Yeah, that's all I wear. I'm rich. I wear designer. So you're an asset. Oh no, now you're a liability because the company actually is showing off more than it needs to show. Okay. Are you an asset or a liability? Your education is going to dictate that. It's so interesting that we can add on that aspect to you. You or the company, because think about it. Even if you bought an education and put it on the company's books, why do you think lawyers get paid so much? Why do you think accountants get paid so much? Why do you think doctors get paid so much? I mean, a surgeon, somebody that's going to do brain surgery, probably should get paid a lot of money. If you are doing brain surgery, if it's not a computer or a robot, you should be getting paid a lot of money. So, are you an asset or a liability to the company? We're going to keep repeating that. It's based off of your knowledge base, your education. How much are you going to invest in your education, ladies and gentlemen? How much does it cost? Oh, Trust Christian, it's on the public side. You know, on the public side, it was going to run me about $100,000. Ladies and gentlemen, we can tell you right now, your private education is literally on time, just in time information. So when you are in the private sector, the information is right here for you to make money right now as an asset manager. Asset managers on the private side are making money right now. They made money through the pandemic. We've made money all the way through because we're asset managers. We have no choice but to generate wealth. That's what we are, asset managers. That means we appreciate. We may not be appreciating and sometimes, you know, everybody has different rates of return. There's different rates of return, but at the end of the day, asset managers right now, the more proficient ones of us are folk. We've put the pedal down to the metal. That means that when the pandemic started, we put the pedal down to the metal. We did not let off and started pressing the brake, talking about let's go into next year and see if we can pick up momentum again. That is not how it worked this time. That is not how it worked, because the dip that happened, when we look at it, even right now, like, that was short-lived. The dip was short-lived. Even if there is a second wave we see right now, we still see asset markets growing. People are buying iPhones. You can't say, oh, they're not buying iPhones. Like, okay, first of all, you got to go look at the company. It has to have integrity or to be sued by the government. So they got to report how many phones they sold. Let's just give them a plus or minus on how many are sold or not sold. But at the end of the day, they still have a number. And they know how many they sold compared to the last phone. And they're not trying to downplay the numbers. Oh, we're trying to downplay the numbers. We're going to downplay the numbers. Why would they do that? This is one of the biggest companies in the world. Why would they want to downplay the numbers? Oh man, we did less than what we did because of the pandemic. They're not trying to say that. They're trying to say we sold the most amount of phones even in the pandemic. In the height of the pandemic, that's when we launched our phone. And guess what? We sold big. So, are you an asset or a liability to the company? It's business, not personal. Always has been, always will be. Assets are things that are appreciating. You, as the executive of the company, can appreciate the company. But at the end of the day, we say sometimes your greatest asset can be your greatest liability. One of them. And you think about it, if time is your greatest asset, it's almost our greatest liability. Now, we get a lot of doofuses that contact the vault and say, oh, there's no such thing as time. We actually have people, they type into the chat, there's no such thing as time. And it's like, these are people that are called, you ready for this word? We're not going to spell it. We're going to say it slow. It's called Baroque. So, time is money. Time is precious. We understand that. Precious things are assets. Diamonds, pearls, rubies, collectible art, jewelry. Those things are assets. Those are precious. That's why we care about precious metals. How many people are buying liabilities? You think about it. Are you spending your whole life as a liability over something? Oh, Trust Christian, man, what do you mean? I was brought up around liabilities my whole life. What do you mean? I gotta be an asset all the time? Can I take a break from being an asset? So it's only one or the other. Asset or liability. What are you doing? Are you taking a break, or are you gonna give it everything you got so you can be a full-time asset and make sure that the things that you're doing can kick back returns to you, quote unquote, or the company, so you can live well? Are you an asset or a liability to the company? Trust Christian, I've never been taught to be an asset to the company, you know? Like, I've been taught about liabilities. Who around you is not a liability? They got a conflict of interest. Oh, what do you mean, Trust Christian? Don't these people want to see me win? Okay. Did they give you the tools that you need to break sound barriers of $1 million or $1 billion yet? Well, I mean, you know, Trust Christian, I'm working on it. Okay, we hear you. But that still is we just talking about a base principle that you're running through your company or through the company every single day as an assessment of where you guys are at financially as a company and as human productivity as a company. Are you guys assets to the company or are you liabilities to the company? And that's the bottom line. And some people say, "Oh, I'm an asset, I'm an asset, I'm an asset." But how are you an asset and you don't have good time management skills? Y'all think this is a game? Y'all think y'all can come to the vault? Y'all think y'all can play with Trust Christian in the vault? Guess what? Everybody on our side, they got time management skills. Were you serious? You think you're managing $250 million and you're not managing your time? Are you serious? Do you think you're managing $1 million and you're not managing your time? Oh, Trust Christian, come on. I'm sure there's a couple dummies that got millions of dollars, Trust Christian. Come on, Trust Christian. There's got to be some dummies that don't manage their time but get $1 million. Really? We don't know them. We don't know them. At the vault, we know the ones that manage their time. They're asset managers. So their time is an asset and they manage it. They're not a liability to themselves. Oh, Trust Christian. Oh, man. Oh, man. All right. I got to get this time management stuff down. Look, here we go. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Are you an asset or a liability to the company? Here we go. This is what people come to the vault and say. Oh, Trust Christian, I be procrastinating sometimes. You're procrastinating, right? Now, let's think about that. Are you an asset or a liability to the company? Guess what? Your ass is fired, procrastinator. No, you don't get to work for our family business. You're a bum. You're being lazy. You're actually calling yourself out. Oh, I'm a liability to the company, Trust Christian. Why? Because I want to procrastinate. I don't want to live up to the family name of being a hard-working son of a gun. I want to be known as the person that's a liability every now and then. But really, you're just a liability. You don't want to hear that, but you're just a liability. Dang, Trust Christian, you making it seem like I can't take no days off. When do assets take days off, ladies and gentlemen? Hold on. Hold on. So am I the asset or the liability? Exactly. You need to figure that out. Because you might not want to be either. But you might not want to be the liability for sure. And a lot of people say, oh man, Trust Christian, how do I get around that on the corporate level? Are you an expense to the company? Or are you growing the company assets only? Are you a non-executive compensated board member? Are you an executive non-compensated board member? Excuse us. Are you a liability to the company, or are you helping the company grow as an asset, as an executive? See, those people are important. Employees come and go. Executives, we don't really want them to be on, a rotation status. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to the replay. Feel free to type into the chat where you listening from. We got people that listening from all types of places. We just always appreciate everybody tuning in live, typing in what state or what city they tuning in live, listening to the replay from. Always appreciate everybody doing that. It's just one of those things. We wanted to do this episode because so many people come to the vault and they ask these type of questions about how the company can acquire assets. So not only is your education an asset if you're an executive, but the company can hold assets such as property. Any company can hold property, ladies and gentlemen, whether y'all know it or not. Property is tangible or intangible. So how many are you all are holding property in the company? People say, oh man, I didn't know I could expense that out. Oh, I didn't know that I could hold that asset in the company name. And guess what? That shows that you didn't know business that well. And it shows you that you can learn business and you might want to stay aggressive in your education, because there's a lot more to know than that. There's a lot more to know than that. It's like saying, okay, it's not your house and neither is it your cell phone. But damn it, yes, you're on the company cell phone doing business. They got a company clothing bill. Trust Christian, man, it sounds like a lot, It sounds like, you saying I'm an asset, but then I'm a liability, and I don't know where to start. That's what they say. Oh man, Trust Christian, I don't know where to start. Okay, so let's think about this. You say you want to open up a business. First of all, businesses should be opening up for profits. So if you got a business opening up for profits, that means you're an asset, not a liability. But a lot of people end up putting money into the company and they still don't even put a debt on the company. Now think about how many of you all have started a company and the company is essentially in debt to you because you're funding the company from your job. So you're funding the company from your job and you're not even saying that the company owes a debt. That's an asset on the company's books. Why? Because somebody gave it an asset. So that means it can only carry a debt if it has an asset. Debt is an asset in corporate terms. But I don't know, Trust Christian. I gotta really think about this. That sounds crazy. I haven't thought about that. I haven't thought about that in a while. That is an asset on the company's books. But where do I buy debt? Well, we told you. You can Google everything we talking about. There's companies, all you got to do is Google it. But we don't want to give you the easy answer. We want you to Google it. You might have to go to more than the first page or the second page of what you're talking about. If you're going to do that one channel. There's other search engines. But most people are using, in the States, using one. Ladies and gentlemen, it's business, not personal. It's been that way for a long time now. Your whole life, actually. People come to the vault. Oh man, Trust Christian, I'm trying to get free. I'm trying to be free from the system. How you gonna be free from the system and you're not managing your affairs like you're an asset? You're managing the affairs like a liability. Oh, Trust Christian, man. A lot of people don't want to go private. We already know this. They're not going private. That's a hope. That's a pipe dream. But guess what? The trustees that enrolled in trustee training, they went private. That's one thing we can say. If you enroll in trustee training, you going private. Straight up. If you invest in trustee training, it's not even that you're one step away from private. You're in the private. That's what the problem is with trustees sometimes. Is they over here trying to find out how the hell they going to go private. How does the company go private when once you in the trustee training system and you got the trustee training system in your possession, that means you're private. But oh no, Trust Christian, that seemed too goddamn simple right there. All I needed to put was some paperwork in place. Hold on. The internet shysters out here, they're selling me some bullshit. The internet shysters, they're selling me, Trust Christian, they trying to sell me the 10 easy steps to get rich right now. Trust Christian saying, hey look, now, we're not going to say that Amazon's not a big idea, but Amazon has the same system Microsoft has in place. Microsoft has the same system that the Rockefellers have in place, that Donald Trump has in place. See, they have a system in place. See, when you looked at Microsoft, you saw the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation being the shareholders of Bill's stock. Bill didn't need to own the stock. He gave that away because he didn't want to be a liability to his stock to the charity that he owned. Because you can own a charity, right? But then you got these guys recently, they get caught up in this one lawsuit, and that's because they're the beneficiaries of that charity. It's like, how stupid can you be? How can you be the beneficiary of a charity when if it can't really be called a charity? If it's yours, it's only a charity because it goes to the public. The assets are supposed to be held for the public. But these guys on the public side, there's a case recently that we looked over as trustees, that these doofuses literally, this guy puts his wife and his daughter as the beneficiary. Like, dude, you're going to get busted. When you do get busted, you're going to get busted. And they did. It's like, you can't be the beneficiary. But hey, we get people will contact the vault and they'll say, hey, all my friends, they don't really want to get into the trustee training system because they don't want to know how to protect themselves. So what are you going to do? You can see that they're liabilities now. Move on. They don't want to protect themselves. So once you put yourself in a position where you can grow wealth exponentially, okay, you can sell rocks and it won't matter. Why? Because you're in control of all the liability. That's what people are missing. Oh man, they're not in total control of the liability. They're not in control of it. And that's what people want when they come to the vault. They say, "Oh man, I'm trying to go private, Trust Christian. What's your email?" Christian@trustchristian.com. Once again, the email is Christian@trustchristian.com. Okay, Trust Christian, I'm ready to go private now because it's the end of the year. I need to give myself a Christmas present. Okay, that's fine. People say, "Oh man, Trust Christian, I'm gonna come back next year." Okay, and ladies and gentlemen, have you ever heard of stocks going up in price? Yeah, that's what trustee training is like. "Oh, Trust Christian, I'm gonna come back when I got $20,000 finally." Okay, well, what makes you think the stock price isn't gonna go up? Ain't you betting on Bitcoin going up? Aren't you betting on all these other things going up? Yeah, so why wouldn't trustee training? Oh, I didn't think of it like that. Right, why? Is college going up every year? Yes. But oh no, Trust Christian, I thought you was alternative education. Really, whether you know it or not, I'm gonna tell you straight up. On the private side, most of the people that do what we do, their prices really don't change. And they haven't changed for 5 to 10 years. Why? Because the funds that they're making from that are minuscule to the other investments that they have. So they're just like, okay, I could leave it at that price. Because it's really based off education. The reason why public education is going up, because it's subsidized by the government. They give people Pell Grants and stuff like that. So the colleges are making money off of grants going to the school from the public side that you get, that you apply for, or whatever. Are you an asset or a liability to the company? This can get deep. This can be a long conversation for the trustees and at the vault. Why don't you have tangible assets? Hard tangible assets. Oh, Trust Christian, they told me not to get gold and silver because people think that's the laughing stock. But why is it that wealthy people hold it? Wealthy people hold gold and silver. Precious metals, diamonds, pearls, platinum, palladium, rhodium. Oh man, Trust Christian, I gotta get some things that I gotta get insurance on ultimately. Yep. Hold on, how much is insurance though, Trust Christian? I thought the government was giving out free insurance. I thought people couldn't afford insurance, Trust Christian. They entrepreneurs. They barely making it. 95% of them go out of business in the first 5 years. What happened? I thought, how can they afford insurance when 95% of businesses going out of business? Well, if they knew that if they did some things wrong or right, that insurance could aid them. What if you got to fire yourself and put another CEO in place? Oh wow, might have something in place, huh? We told y'all Nick Saban was doing. See, we give y'all examples at the vault, but then what happened? The internet gurus, they don't want to talk about anything other than themselves. Okay, they want to talk about themselves. Trust Christian at the vault, we letting y'all know that look, we telling y'all the stories. It's called the Chronicles of the Trusteeship. People coming through, they got consultations. We tell you what people say in consultations. We tell you what we going over in trustee training sometimes. This is the vault. It's a continuing education environment. Are you an asset or a liability? Of course we covered education. Of course we cover time management. How do we cover time management as an asset? Because time is an asset. But how is that? Is that prevailing in your mind every day that you're doing business? Is every minute worth $1? How many minutes is in a day? Do you know how many minutes are in a day? Oh man, Trust Christian, I don't know how many minutes in a day. And that's why your family estate is poor. Because you don't know how many days, how many minutes, how many minutes are in a day. That's why your family's poor, because you don't know how many minutes are in a day. Oh, Trust Christian, I can't believe you would say something like that. Well, how are you an asset to the family? You don't even know how many minutes are in a day. You think that that's superfluous information? You don't think it's important to know how many minutes are in a day? Well, Trust Christian, I never thought about it like that. I went to public school. In public school, we was sitting there for 3 and 4 hours. All I know is the 60 minutes in the hour. But you didn't calculate how many minutes you was sitting there, though. How many hours did it, or many minutes did it take for you to do the homework? You're not timing yourself anymore, are you? You're not going through classes anymore. Why? Because people thought they were supposed to get out and get a job. No, what you were supposed to do is get out and continue your education. Continue investing in yourself. Trust Christian, what you mean I got to invest in myself? Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to end on this because this is how we do it at the vault. Somebody said, Trust Christian, what would you go back and tell yourself in your early, you're 18, 19, as soon as you got out of school and you went straight to business? What would you tell yourself? Trust Christian said, I would tell myself to invest in yourself faster. Invest in yourself as fast as you can. Don't hesitate on how much money you're going to ever invest in your education. You don't want to do that because we've seen some of the best of them sit in the room and tell us, look, we spent $100,000 to learn that lesson. Like, dang. And you think you lost money? Okay, cool, you didn't. Why? Because they're up $30 billion right now. They're up billions of dollars right now. They'll tell you, oh, that was $1 million lesson right there. They lost millions of dollars on that project, on that education. That was a life lesson. That wasn't just a computer education. That was an actual $1 million business loss. Okay. What do you mean, Trust Christian? Their analysis was off. Their prediction was off. They were wrong. They're okay with saying that they're wrong. And then they learned a lesson from it. Oh, okay. That's what the mentors and business people we sit around and say. So they say those lessons are assets. Because now they got wisdom. They got experience and they got action. That's wisdom. See, that's what we get at the vault. We don't need to do the chump change ideas. Ladies and gentlemen, it's business, not personal. We've been talking that. We've been on the internet saying, look, we know it's about business. Why? Because that's what it's always been about. That's why they come to our channel. The Moors come to our channel. The Moors don't want to leave their ways because they think it's nationality. And how is that business? That's personal. Oh, did we say it? Did we hurt their feelings? Oh, Trust Christian, I want to proclaim my nationality because I don't want to be known as black. Why are black people not trying to act like they're not black now? Do you hear these type of terminologies? I don't want to be black. I want to be a Moor. I want to be something different. But what happened? Did you want to make money? Well, Trust Christian, that means now that my name is in an estate, and my name, since it's in an estate, I could go ahead and make some money off my birth certificate. Hold on. You haven't Googled that story yet? Yeah, that's a story on the internet. They tell people, you can make money off your birth certificate. Oh yeah, if you're some more, you can, collect off your birth certificate. We're not going to make light of it right now because it's just actually just not true. We're not going to make light of it. It's just not true. Oh, Trust Christian, I'm going to put a fez on my head. I seen this athlete wearing a fez. I seen this person wearing a fez. Well, do you think if you go to Morocco, you're not going to put on the whole garb too? Some of these people are into fashion. So, of course, they're wearing it for fashion. Oh, Trust Christian, man, Look, man, I've been on a plantation. I've been working a job. I've been on a plantation. I'm trying to get off the plantation. I'm trying to work for myself. I'm trying to do something for my family. Hold on. Y'all ready to hear the remix? This is the remix. We come from that culture of remix. Are you an asset or a liability? Hold on, Trust Christian. I'm trying to do something for my family. Remix again. I'm trying to do something for my family. Remix again. I'm trying to do something for my family. Everybody comes to the vault. They say they trying to do something for their family. But how are you doing something for your family and you not making a sacrifice and investing in the family education and carrying the debt and saying, look, we got to make sure that the family has education first. Because how are we going to educate the next generation if we don't have the information that we need at the beginning? We're not going to get all of it right now. Trust Christian, I'm trying to get off the plantation. I'm trying to do something for myself. I'm trying to do something for my family. Man, come on, man. Trust Christian, I've been listening to you for years, man. I still ain't got a consultation. Trust Christian, I heard you got a private community, but guess what? I set up a trust on my own on the outside. Hee ha ha. I set up a trust on the outside. I didn't come through trustee training, Trust Christian, but I'm still on the outside of the community. Right, look at you. Guess what? In the vault, our trustees know People in trust deal with people in trust. So if you actually started a trust on your own, why wouldn't you still contact the vault as a trustee to see what we were doing as trustees? But we already know it's not like that, ladies and gentlemen. See, the people that really are going to go through with the vault and trustee training, they really about it. They're really coming through and looking for the private results because they hear something in the spirit and the DNA of the episode. They hear that Trust Christian's not a rat. They hear that Trust Christian's not out here name dropping. They hear that Trust Christian is saying, look, he's only talking about trustee training, but he's not name dropping. He's saying, look, we've been doing this for a while. Some people type into the chat, they say where they listening from, but guess what? He's not out here name dropping. He's not saying around the money that he sits around. He's saying, look, we can do this too by being what? Trustees. Because when you private, you win these environments. Who you think sit in the private environment? Wealthy people. It ain't broke people. So that's how you know you in the right environment. You can't be private and be broke. But oh no, Trust Christian. Well, I'm not ready for that yet. I'm still trying to hang around my friends that they not making more than $100,000 a year. They even talking about making $100,000 a year. I don't want to sit around friends in the room that are making billions of dollars in the private sector, and they're telling me that they're willing to give family foundations money. They're telling me that they're willing to invest in businesses and give businesses money if they have the right idea. So hold on. It's an abundance of money in the private sector, but in the public sector, oh man, in the public sector, they're saying that they need PPP money. Hold on, what? The banks just had a 2 quarters up. The banks did. But the market, the market was up 2 quarters too. So who's doing bad right now? Hold on, is it Wall Street or Main Street? That's the politician lines. We got to make sure that the money goes to Main Street instead of Wall Street. Well, Main Street just got hit for less than $5,000 out of their tax refund. Oh, well, if you were going to pay, if you were going to be, we're going to refund you $5,000. We're going to take that out right now. That's what we're going to do for the impoverished people. The rest of you all, if you're thinking about having any sense and making some real money with your life, continue on. Of course, it's challenging to be an asset when we've been around liabilities, or you've been around liabilities. So you got to get around assets. That's what's going to pull on you. That's what's going to weigh on you. And then when you really find out assets don't weigh on you, assets grow you, assets free you, assets enable you to do greater things. It's the fact that we're even in 2020 and we're able to even talk about assets. See, a lot of these people, they go to these internet gurus, they go to these internet marketers, and guess what? They like one of my favorite 3 6 Mafia songs. They be like, oh please, just give me just one more hit. That's all these internet marketers are. They're just telling you to oh please, just give you one more hit. You always got to come back to them. They set you up on an internet sales funnel that's going to be outdated in the next 6 months. Why? Because internet marketers got another idea coming out in 6 months. So you're never going to win in internet marketing because somebody's always trying to internet market somebody out. They're always trying to out internet market somebody. They're internet market. Hold on. You think Trust Christian Evolves doesn't have our pulse on the marketplace where the internet marketers are winning? All they're doing is advertising to you on Facebook. All they're doing is advertising to you on Instagram. All they're doing is advertising to you on YouTube. You think we don't know where they're advertising to you on all these different platforms? The internet marketers. Who's the biggest players on the internet? Facebook. Who's the biggest player in search right now? Google. Internet marketers. Oh, hold on, dang, Chris. Dang, you right. Okay. Who's supplying them with the data? Who's supplying them with the bait? Y'all have so much opportunity right now. The Vault listeners got so much opportunity. We know this episode's going long, but this is only for the strong. We already know that the strong gonna listen this long. And that's the facts. This isn't for us to go down in history. It's for the Vault to do what the Vault has always done. It's to give out the message of independence, self-reliance, asset protection, wealth building, prosperity, abundance, facts. Not about, Oh, Trust Christian, you didn't tell us about the latest drama on the internet. Trust Christian need to tell you the news. You know what I mean? People used to listen to the Vault and they'd be like, oh man, Trust Christian, I like when you used to do the news. What do we need to do the news at the Vault for? We got our pulse on the marketplace. Do you have your pulse on the marketplace, or are you just playing with it? Are you a commercial, or are you the commercial dummy? That's a fact. And how many of you all let 2020 get up under your fucking fingers like the rugs that you walk on every day? You let it get from up under your fingers. Oh, Trust Christian, man. You think our mentors didn't tell us that? Y'all better listen to the Vault. We have mentors tell us, Trust Christian in the Vault. Count 2020 as the year you gotta roll it up. Oh, hold on, Trust Christian. It can't be that fucking crazy, Trust Christian. It can't be that crazy. Your family told you not to make money in the pandemic? What kind of crazy shit is that? Hold on, but they made money over the internet. Amazon did. Hold on. Bezos did over the internet. Were you an asset to your family like Bezos? No, I was a consumer, dummy. I was sitting back watching all the ads. Trust Christian in the Vault. We said we had to make it our best year over year, end over end. We had mentors tell us, oh, Trust Christian, look, this might go on longer than a year. All right, this COVID stuff might go on longer than a year, so you need to be ready to go ahead and just call it a year. What you mean, call it a year? Y'all don't even want to know what call it a year looked like. Call it a year? This was a glorious year. And the fact that we even focused on the money was even better. And we had a mentor send us an email actually today. Listen to this. We're going to go ahead and read this to you. Since people want to know, what's the story sound like on the private side, Trust Christian? If you listen this long, you get the private story. Here we go. This is what the mentors say in the private sector, since you're asking stupid questions. Hey, Trust Christian. During the pandemic, my team and I have closed 15 investment agreements for a total of $258 million. And here is what we've learned that I believe will help us through the next 9 months of the pandemic as the world decides who wants to get to be vaccinated. Good deals don't get closed. Exceptional investments with even better teams do. So, this is some tips that he's just given in this email as a mentor about, they say they got some agreements on deck for $258 million. This is not a lightweight mentor. This is a heavyweight. Straight up. Nobody owes anyone a response to their random email. This is what the mentors are saying, ladies and gentlemen. This is what the mentors are saying. Appreciate Antioch, California for tuning in live. Listen to replay. Feel free to type into the chat where you listening from the replay. Now, this is the mentors. One of the mentors, he says, nobody owes anyone a random response to their email, although almost nobody aims to add genuine value first. They just cold pitch. And so he talked about that. He says, don't see what everyone is doing to emulate them. Examine what is best practice so you can offer something more aligned, more tax efficient, and more effective. Now think about this. This is the mentor sending an email, and he has no problem with letting you know to get your ass in a more tax efficient position. But no. We go to conferences where billionaires in the room say, we can't talk about the taxes. Why? Because that's a taboo topic to talk about, and that's why you're going to stay a broke ass billionaire. Well, guess what? There are people moving on to trillionaires. They're not sitting at billion status. So the mentor says more tax efficient and more efficient, more effective. He's got 2 more tips here and we're done. He says during the pandemic, many businesses faced hard times and still are. Seeing now who adapted, grew, kept their team in place, and served their clients is more helpful than seeing who while most things were trending upward for the last decade before 2020. Okay, see who did well while most things were trending. Okay, it is what it is. There, he's definitely just talking about like, are you in line with a business that's growing? That's bottom line. Are you COVID ready? Are you pandemic ready? Is your business tech ready? It's very important to be mobile friendly ready right now. There's a lot of people have cell phones, they just not on the computer. So you have to be mobile friendly. And they want to see companies that have had astronomical growth. And there are companies right now, like, okay, think about this, ladies and gentlemen. It's not like a financial advice. This is simple mathematics. If they're showing real estate through through these different type of programs that you got to look at it in your house, and now they got people dressing up the house and all that. Think about the software companies that develop that software. Think about the lag time that they have. Think about the automation that they're going to need in those things, and think about those stocks, those companies. Exactly. Number 5, he says investing in proper structure. Wow, that's what you're listening to the vault for. You're listening to the vault so you can get proper structure for your asset protection. He says investing in proper structure, strategy, deal flow, and approach is 10x more powerful than simply having the right contacts to do business with. That's very important. A lot we've heard recently at the vault, well, your net worth is like your network. Your network is definitely as valuable or more valuable than your net worth. But net worth still counts for something, and you still should count for something. Some people right now, they don't want to know what's going on behind closed doors for a lot of people, but there are things that they might be underwater, and you may not know that. Learning how to fish is more important than someone handing you a few of them. This is what the mentor typed out in the email recently. And this is where people are. They want some fish. Y'all want fish over the internet. I don't know how people want the damn fish, but people really want fish over the internet. They really do. They want the fish. Oh, Trust Christian, you can't give me the bite-sized pieces through the internet for free? Come on, Trust Christian. The game is to be sold, not to be told. Or it's like, okay, at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about trustee training. It's an actual training program. There's time involved, and time is money. We've shared with you all that that's an asset. That's it. It's not anything more than that. If you exchanging money for your time, look at it as you're paying for your time. But how many people are paying for their time? We know people aren't paying for their time, and that's why they're not having other people pay for their time, because most people aren't willing to invest in themselves and invest and get more money out of their time. And when you're willing to do that, when you do that, you can see returns coming. But what we say, Trust Christian would say to his younger self, oh, look, make sure that you invest in yourself faster, no matter how much it is or what it is. Invest in yourself fast. But hey, what do we know at the vault, ladies and gentlemen? We just sit around these asset managers because that's what we appreciate in life right now. Whether y'all know it or not, we're going in the fourth quarter. The year is definitely not even close to being over. Right now, we got some powerful days that people can make quite a bit of capital and wealth off of, and we're seeing people, do it, and then we're seeing ones that's not. First of all, the private sector is moving just fine, has been moving fine for hundreds of years now. That's the problem. People on the public side, and they talking about what's the holdup. When the private sector, we already know what's good. We already fine. Well, we're fine with whatever's going on. Why? Because we're in the private. We hold hard, tangible assets. The public is what's relying on paper debt, relying on paper assets, relying on legislation. That's their asset tools. Law is their asset tools. What are our asset tools? Hard, tangible assets. Education is a hard, tangible, intangible asset. What is gold, silver, all these different assets? They're hard, tangible assets. Oh, what about property? Real estate. Hey, it's a hard, tangible asset, but it could be a liability. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. Feel free to type into the chat where you listening from. Always appreciate everybody that types into the chat where they listening from. It's always good to see where everybody's listening from. But that's pretty much it, ladies and gentlemen. Like I say, we could talk about this all night. We could talk about this all day. We could talk about it all the time, because this is what we train our trustees to know the difference between, which is, are you an asset, are you a liability to the company? And how do you make sure that you are an asset and not a liability? And that's what trustee training is all about. It's pretty much helping trustees mitigate risk as liabilities to the company. So when you do get officers, errors, and omissions insurance, now you've offset the liabilities that you may have made. Why? Because the company now has officers insurance on you, because you're an officer. So the company has officers insurance on you. Oh, hold on. The company can have officers insurance on me? Yes. See, ladies and gentlemen, when you go through trustee training, the trustee, senior trustee, mentor, trust Christian, he tells you got to read a book about insurances. But how many people got to that level yet? Because they're not major asset managers. We deal with major asset managers. Some people said 2020 was a pivotal year. It'll be one of those things where we look back and just say it's another chug on a choo-choo train. But at the end of the day, for a lot of people, this was the total fucking wipeout. And a lot of people don't want to hear that. This has been a total wipeout for people, ladies and gentlemen. People have literally gone months without having any income unless they're collecting unemployment. And if you're taking unemployment, that means you're living off like Social Security. You're living off less than what you would have made if you were working. So that means you're living in worse straits than you were when you were working. But hold on. That's how you know it's a liability. Why? Because this isn't giving me full price on my time and money. This is giving me half price. But people want half price money because they sitting around half price people. That's why. And when you stop doing half price stuff and you start doing full price stuff, you're going to get full price treatment. Are you going to do asset stuff or are you going to do liability stuff? Oh, Trust Christian, how long do I got to do that? For the rest of your life. That's who we deal with, and that's who comes through the vault. And we always appreciate everybody that does. So appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. Feel free to reach out Christian at Trust Christian if you want to get a consultation. Look forward to hearing from you. Are you an asset or a liability to the company? Peace.